video. Today I'll be reviewing Evil Dead Rise. Off the bat, I did like this movie. Now, I will say I didn't enjoy it as much as the 2013 Evil Dead, but we'll get into that. I would describe this movie as a mix between Evil Dead 2 and the Evil Dead 2013 reboot, which isn't a bad thing, but I enjoyed the 2013 reboot just a little bit more than this. Even though this movie starts off in the woods, this is the first Evil Dead movie with Evil Dead in the title. I'm not including Army of Darkness in this, but the first movie with Evil Dead in the title that does not primarily take place in the woods. It takes place in a kind of run-down apartment complex, I guess you would call it. Something I want to point out with the Evil Dead movies is it's big in the woods, with the branches attacking people. It happens to me in the 2013 version. It happens to Cheryl in Evil Dead. So it's kind of a staple. And again, this took place in a rundown apartment building, so there was, obviously no tree branches. But they do a callback to that when the mom, before she gets possessed, she's in the elevator trying to bring laundry up, and just the wires from the elevator just attack her, string her up, and it looks exactly like Mia and Cheryl looked in the Evil Dead movie. So I thought that was a nice little callback. Okay, so in true Evil Dead fashion, it's not an Evil Dead movie if you don't have the Necronomicon. They don't actually say Necronomicon in this. It's just the Book of the Dead. But they find it, read from it, and of course, all hell breaks loose. Since Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi produces it, there's definitely that familiar Evil Dead feel. Like I said in the beginning, this reminds me of a mix of Evil Dead 2 and the 2013 reboot, which is good. There was a few Easter eggs in this which I really enjoyed. One of them being Bruce Campbell actually being the voice on the record that they're playing of the professor. There's a few nods to The Shining in it, which I thought was also amazing, considering that the first Evil Dead, Stephen King just raved about it. So when they're trying to escape, the elevator fills up with blood, and then when the elevator opens, just the blood comes gushing out. Listen, there was so much blood in this movie. If that's your thing, you're gonna love it. You have seen The Shining, you know that the snowstorm is what kept them from being able to leave the Overlook Hotel, right? So they were trapped and the cabin fever hits and everything, and that's sort of what happens in this movie. So in this movie, an earthquake hits and they're incapable of leaving. They're stuck in the building, and that's when someone finds the Book of the Dead and they read from it, and again, just all hell breaks loose. So the mom becomes possessed, and that also feels like it's a callback to The Shining. When Jack gets possessed and he's terrorizing his family, she kind of does the same thing. I'm not going to dive too heavily into spoilers, but I did put a spoiler warning on this. I'm not going to just talk about the entire movie, but there's Easter eggs and stuff that I want to discuss, so there is spoilers in this. Another fun Easter egg is the pizza place that she sends the kids to is called Henrietta's Pizza, and their slogan is "Come get some," which both big Evil Dead references. So basically, the mom gets possessed, and the whole apartment building, not the whole apartment building, the mom gets possessed, and her sister is there with her children, and she's trying to protect the children. They eventually get the mom out of the apartment, but again, there was an earthquake, so there's pretty much stranded in this apartment building. A few other tenants get possessed, so that makes it even more crazy, and this aunt has to get the kids out of there. Unfortunately, if you've seen the movie, you know what happens. Only her and the youngest make it out. Obviously, there's no Evil Dead movie without a chainsaw. So, of course, she's equipped with a chainsaw at one point because, hello. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the beginning of the movie does start in the woods, and it's with these characters that we don't follow throughout the movie. So it makes you wonder, like, okay, how does this tie in to the story that we just watched? And the way this ends, it's in the parking garage, and it's just gory, bloody mess, right? But the aunt and her niece escape. One of the girls from the beginning who actually ends up being possessed. In the beginning, we see the entity come at her in the garage, right? She's leaving. She's a tenant at the apartment. She's talking about how she slept through the earthquake. So apparently she slept through all that chaos and havoc that was happening in the apartment building. So yeah, she goes down to the parking garage. She's on the phone with her sister. She's getting ready to go meet her sister and her boyfriend in a cabin in the woods. And you see the entity charge at her the same way that it charges at Bruce Campbell at the end of Evil Dead 1. And that was a nice callback as well. And that's how they end it. And that's how we see, how she got possessed. And then it, ties in with the beginning where you see her possessed and she, kills her sister and her boyfriend. So yeah. That was just a quick review. I didn't go too in depth Obviously, there's heavy spoilers in there, but again, I was trying to keep from just telling the entire story. If you like Evil Dead, go see this movie. Did you go see Evil Dead Rise? Do you plan on it? If so, let me know in the comments what you thought of it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.